This West Texas town went from desolate to impossibly hip as it became an art and cultural hotspot. But while the town's face may have changed over the years, one thing has remained the same since before settlers decided to make this desert oasis their home. Glowing lights dancing over the mountains, beacons to ranchers and tourists alike. But what are these lights in the distance? Ancient spirits? An inexplicable natural phenomenon? Or messages from another world? This week's episode is The Marfa Lights.
In the night, your heart fills with dread, probably a murderer who wants you dead. It could be a ghost, a demon, or worse. Perhaps you're the victim of a witch's curse. It's hopeless, you're doomed. You'd call a priest if you could. You'd rather just listen to Sinisterhood.
Hello. Well, first of all, I'm going to kill you.
How is everybody?
Right. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes. This is amazing. Everybody knows why you're here, I'm assuming, but I am Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's just get into it.
You want to?
Yeah.
We're not going to riff a little bit?
You want to riff? Okay, let's riff.
Well, very briefly. You won't be mad. You guys know.
I want to tell them what Heather has been doing in the green room
then I'll
for
tell
the past
what
half
you were
hour.
doing.
She's been trying to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Okay, you guys.
She's obsessed with this Rubik's Cube.
Stole a Rubik's Cube from my second favorite coworker, who stole it from my first favorite coworker, the one with the toaster, and I cannot solve it. So if anybody knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube, hit me those DMs. You know that Christy is, she's like a hairpin trigger with her tears. We could hear you guys all talking and laughing and cheering, and she got very choked up. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful. So then I just...
Now I'm gonna cry again.
God damn it. I slapped her on her ass really hard and was like, get out there.
No, I go, slap me in the face, and she did, and I stopped.
Yeah, it was great.
So it was fine.
So, let's get into it.
Yeah. All right, this week's episode is the Marfa Lights.
How many of you have ever been to Marfa? Woo, because it's a podcast, so people can't see your hands.
Yeah.
There it is.
I did see some hands back there, though. I have never been.
I haven't either, only because the drive is so far.
It's very far.
I don't do well in cars. If I can't get somewhere on an airplane in 3 hours, I probably don't need to go.
You could get there on an airplane in probably 45 minutes.
It would have to be like a private plane. I think you can fly to Midland and then drive.
We'll all take a private plane to Marfa. Sounds good. After you solve that Rubik's Cube, get a plane sponsorship.
My mom said I'm not allowed to fly in small planes because that's how JFK Jr. died.
She's not wrong.
And if one president's son died on something, then you're definitely going to be next. Think logically. All right, so we're not going to Marfa, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. No. We don't need to. Nobody needs to go because we're about to tell you all about it.
You'll feel like you were there.
Yes. Marfa, Texas is located in the high desert basin of the Chihuahuan Desert in the Trans-Pecos region of Texas. Nestled between the Davis Mountains and Big Bend National Park, it occupies 1.6 square miles of land.
The thing about Texas is we have every single climate. Like, we have mountains and a desert and prairies, and they're all kind of right by each other. So why would you ever leave, right?
Oh. Maybe because you want, like, winter or not to be 115 degrees for 4 months out of the year.
Yeah, ask me in July if I want to leave.
God. The town was founded in the early 1800s as a station on the railroad where steam trains would replenish their water supplies. The name Marfa was chosen at the suggestion of the wife of a railroad tycoon, meaning Martha in Russian, after a character in a Jules Verne novel called Michael Strogoff.
Michael Stroganoff is a delicious Lipton packet of noodles.
Also, what a badass job to be a railroad tycoon.
Or a railroad tycoon's wife.
Yeah. Of course, a woman named this town.
Betsy, what do we call the place?
Marfa.
No, it shall be done. Because when you're a tycoon...
You get things done.
Absolutely.
Well, the population grew in the 1920s with the addition of the Marfa Army Airfield, which served to train several thousand pilots during World War II. However, it closed in 1945, and the population of the town declined after that.
It was a mass exodus, pretty much.
There was no reason to be there.
No,
until 1971. Minimalist artist Donald Judd moved from New York City to Marfa. That is maybe a downgrade. I don't know. If you're an artist, you stay in New York City.
I imagine he was just tripping out like Hunter Thompson and stopped and was so high that he was like, this is it.
Everyone in Marfa aspires to get to New York City, and this guy was like, fuck all y'all, I'm going the other way. Well, he used some large airplane hangars and other large buildings to permanently install his art. Oh, that's a little... Come on. Like, nobody could ever move your art.
Pretty much, he said, museums, showpieces for a little while. This art will stay forever. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, because it's Marfa and no one cares about that building. No one's going to
challenge you. I guess that's why he did it.
Yeah.
A few years later, he bought 2 ranches and later worked to turn the decommissioned airfield into a permanent art installation.
But at least it's getting used for something.
In October 2005...
Watch out, you guys, this next part.
I have some hot takes coming up. Just FYI. In October 2005, artists Michael Elmgren and Ingar Dragset, Christ. That is a name. They permanently installed the famed Prada Marfa sculpture. I hate this thing. A pop architectural land art project, which many believe is meant to represent consumerism, luxury branding, and gentrification.
Maybe you hate it because it accurately represents and depicts all the things you hate, right? Consumerism and luxury branding.
First of all, I love some luxury brands. So if Prada wants to sponsor this, please do.
Give us a phone call. But I will say when I first saw, because I have very hip friends who have been to Marfa, and you see it on Facebook, and I thought, oh man, that is that store is very far out in the desert.
Very tiny. Who's going to shop there?
I thought it was a real store.
No one. It's fake. And when they built it, this is my favorite part of this. I texted this to Heather last night, and in all caps was just ha 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 for about 3 minutes. When they built it the next day, when it was supposed to open, it had been vandalized, and a bunch of people had broken in and stolen the stuff and
purses,
and graffiti "dum dum" all over the wall. Which I was like, hell yeah.
I just imagine the guys walking past are like, Prada, that is fancy. Hang on, give me the crowbar.
What a bunch of dum-dums coming from New York City.
Let them know. You know what? You know how they spelled it? DUM-DUM.
Yep.
True story.
Who's the dum-dum now?
Yep.
Well, speaking of temperatures in Texas, Marfa has a year-round temperature between 85 and 105 degrees. That is a wide berth of degrees it can be.
It's either hot or real fucking hot.
And currently has a population of around 2,000.
It's a little place.
It's very small. It is most often known now for its beautiful art. And for being a great place to shoot movies like No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. Both fantastic films.
I've only seen the Saturday Night Live parody of both.
You get the picture.
Yeah, I drink your milkshake.
Yeah. Most people who live there are employed by the U.S. Border Patrol, whose regional headquarters are located in Marfa.
So that's exactly the type of people that want a Prada store.
Yeah.
Hard-working government employees.
The dum-dum Border Patrol. Well, the Marfa Lights, also known as the Chinati Lights or Marfa Ghost Lights, have entranced travelers passing near the West Texas town of Marfa for over 175 years. The lights are described as glowing orbs and seen most often near the Mitchell Flat, a special viewing park that was built for those hoping to catch a glimpse, which is located approximately 9 miles east of the city of Marfa.
Can I confess something?
Sure, please.
As a child, I heard about the Marfa Lights, and I heard about Aurora Borealis, and I was so scared of both of them. Much like I was unreasonably afraid
Because
of
you
the
didn't
mafia.
understand them?
Yeah, I just didn't understand it. I was like,
You know what? Marfa and Mafia are not that far apart,
One
so
letter.
maybe there's a connection
Oh,
there.
God. That's why he came from New York. It was a new life.
Oh, God. She's going to take this very personal.
You guys. I think we know where Al Capone ended up.
Oh, in Marfa? And he's in the Prada store?
Yes. He sells very nice hats.
Well, most people describe seeing yellow-orange lights, although some viewers have seen red, blue, or green. Typically, though, they're described as orange with flashes of red. They are most often seen floating anywhere from 400 feet from the ground to as low as 2 or 3 feet. Same with the temperature. Everything is very opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah. They're flying above and around the desert vegetation just outside the city. Sometimes the lights pulse brightly and disappear, while other times they appear to glow as one single orb that splits into two.
So in researching this, you can see videos that people have taken, and yeah, you can make judgments for yourself, but the better thing to do is find videos of people who've seen them and want to talk about it. It's very fun, and that's what we're going to talk about next.
There's been lots of encounters.
So many.
Yes, so many that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
I believe you said, because I had posted a lot of encounters in our joint notes, and she's like, there's too much here. I was like, there's so much.
Well, the first mention of the lights dates back to 1883, when 16-year-old Robert Ellison, a rancher near Marfa, was out on a roundup when he noticed a strange glow shimmering off in the distance, a few miles away from where he was standing. It appeared to hover a few feet off the ground.
So for all you truthers out there who think that it's car lights, explain how in 1883 there was car lights out there.
Campfire.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. You know what? That's fine.
According to Julia Plumbley, Ellison's daughter, he and the other ranchers saw it frequently. The men thought it was a campfire from faraway travelers. His granddaughter, Rosemary, still lives in Marfa, and said that as a teen, the boys would drive the girls out to look at the lights in an act she called courting.
Which I think is code for finger banging in the mountains. This was just this old lady who's just sun-dried and just haggard and was like, the boys would take us out there. And the interviewer's like, oh, and then what? She's like, I mean...
And then they finger
There were
banged us while we watched the glowing lights.
I was
the
gonna
light
say,
show.
The glowing orbs were inside the car, I think. And they were Rosemary's.
Nice.
There was a time when the boys liked to put their hands up my shirt. Now it's just doctors.
Now my orbs don't glow. Oh, yeah. Now she goes to the doctor to get a quick cop and feel.
Can we do it out in the mountains? Your office is so sterile. She's a lovely woman.
Yeah, she's very lovely.
We have lots of respect.
Well, when asked for a theory, Rosemary said,
I think they're a mystery and they should remain a mystery. Kids have to have a place to go and fondle one another by the moonlight.
As there were no cars at the time, it couldn't have been car lights that the ranch so frequently saw. On January 2nd, 1943, the Marfa Air Base opened. The men, only men, I won't go into that, at the Army Air Base began seeing the lights. At that time, there were no guard lights or air lights, and vehicular traffic was at a bare minimum. Fritz Kahl, an Army veteran who was stationed at Marfa and who currently manages the Marfa Airport, believes definitively that headlights were not to blame.
You guys, interviews with Fritz Kahl are really dope because he always wears his cool hat right on the top of his head. And he will argue with anyone who tries to say that it's headlights. He's like, you don't understand. During the war, you couldn't just drive anywhere. You couldn't just drive. It wasn't people driving. And everyone's like, oh, okay, we're going to...
Okay, crazy
Thanks,
person.
Buddy.
I'll
but he
back
runs
off.
he runs the airports. You can't really, kick him out of town. He does a service.
Well, at the time, during World War II, fuel was rationed, and it was highly unusual for anyone to drive on treacherous roads in the mountain at dark. Kahl and his fellow servicemen saw the lights frequently, and based on their speed, color, and distance from the ground, believed they saw something far more unusual than simple headlights. Kahl and his men saw something, quote, totally foreign to anything in or around the area. The next day, the men asked around town about what they'd seen. Marfa residents shrugged and said,
I mean, yeah, sure, we got lights.
The men stationed at the airfield would go hunting the lights, and one night they nearly died trying to chase them.
Yeah, they were flying in an airplane real close, and they just, followed it all the way down, and sometimes the lights hover, as we've told you, 2 feet off the ground, and apparently the rational person in the back seat was like, get us out of here! But I think that the general idea is that everyone in the town's just cool with it. They like it. They don't think it's a weird thing. They're just like, yeah, that's what the mountains do.
Don't get them started on the Prada sculpture, but they do love the lights. Well, in 1955, James Dean was filming the movie Giant, which ended up being his last movie, in Marfa, and reportedly became so obsessed with the lights that he would keep a telescope on him at night in hopes of witnessing the phenomenon.
James Dean was super cool. He wore
hell yeah, he was.
Super cool jean pants. He wore a sweet leather jacket. And can you just imagine you're hanging out with James Dean? He's kicked up against the door. He's like, hang on a minute.
Wait a second. I think I see something.
Look at those lights. Everyone's like, James Dean, don't you want to go courting? And he's like, I got a scope. Got my scope.
I got a scope. In 1960, 16-year-old Hallie Stillwell and her family were in town to tend to business when they saw mysterious lights on the Chinani Mountains. Hallie and her family initially suspected it was simply a campfire, but based on its location, ruled out any headlights from cars.
It's never headlights, you guys.
Could be campfire.
It's never campfires.
But Hallie said, based on its movement, it clearly was not a campfire.
See?
Since it moved and bobbed higher off the ground. The family decided the only explanation was ghosts. That's the leap. That's the leap. And deemed them ghost lights.
I think I'm
if it's not a car or a campfire, it's ghosts.
Probably
There's no other explanation. Well, the only account of someone making contact with the lights took place in the winter of 1994. Reverend Alton Sutter was traveling along a lonely ranch road with his family late at night. Surprisingly, the family saw lights floating above them. One of the Reverend's sons pointed out a light that seemed to slow from the rest of the lights. This softball-sized glowing orb seemed to get smaller and smaller as it grew closer to the ground. The Reverend arrived at the light once it was the size of a pea. As it grew dimmer, the Reverend removed his glove, and his entire family watched as he touched the translucent orb with his finger as it completely faded away. He was trying to finger bang that orb.
He's like, honey, wait, I've heard about these lights. Let me take my gloves off.
And she's like, you don't touch me like that.
I leave my gloves on with you, Lucinda. You're my wife. I think it's funny because he's a reverend and a family man, and anyone else that told the story, you would be like, you were on mushrooms.
Maybe he's still what? Hey, reverends can party.
You never know. It's just like on a street, there was an orb and I touched it and then it disappeared. We take this guy at his word.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe he's
a man of God, so he has to be telling the truth.
He's probably not high.
Well, maybe the lights are just trying to help us all out.
That's some people in the town, that's their theory, is that they're a benevolent spirit.
I like that. Mm-hmm. A professor that was hiking out in the desert near Marfa, he came upon the sun as it was setting, and the temperature was so high up in the mountains and it began to drop. He realized he was too far away from his truck, and he couldn't find it. He saw a light in the distance, which he mistook for a ranch light. As he chased the light, he found that it had led him straight back to his truck, where, once he arrived safely, the light blinked out.
See, it's
helping him out.
Or he was chasing some person on an ATV.
And they're like, get him
help me! I'm a professor!
It's the Reverend. He's like, I'm trying to touch that light too. Well, if there are so many encounters with these lights, why don't we see any pictures of them?
I saw plenty of crazy people videos on YouTube.
Well, James Bunnell has spent the better part of 2 decades, this is a long time to be studying something, studying the Marfa lights, and in his book, Hunting Marfa Lights, he indicates that photographing the mystery lights is more complex than just pointing a camera and pressing the button on top.
He is a well-respected researcher, pretty much the top in the field of Marfa lights, which is a really small field.
Niche community.
Super niche. But he has spent so long studying the Marfa lights, and he wrote this book, and it's much like the Dyatlov Pass book I wrote. It's like these researchers get so into their story that it's half research and half... Wait a minute,
crazy
that's what we
rants.
do. Half research and half crazy rants.
Oh, so us? Where's our
us.
book deal then?
But he talks about that I think his wife passed away, and once that happened, he dedicated his whole entire life to just the Marfa lights.
Aww,
and that book
sad.
goes through all of the... I mean, it's sweet that he has a purpose, I guess, but it goes through all of the... all right.
Because he wouldn't have had a purpose in life had it not been for these lights.
Well, I mean, you take your sorrow and you put it into something that helps a very small swath of the population. People looking to learn about Marfa lights.
If it gets him through the day, that's all that matters.
But there was like a whole chapter on how to photograph them.
Well, because the Marfa lights are nocturnal events, you need to use special light control when photographing them. Use of long exposure and tripods are also necessary, which means it's hard to transport all the photography equipment when a Marfa light makes a rare appearance. You got to be set up, prepared, ready to go,
yes.
like James Dean. Just always have it on you. Gosh,
I got my scope.
If tragedy hadn't struck, he would have solved that mystery.
He would have been the one to solve the Marfa lights.
If anyone was going to.
I just like to imagine James Benella's at the Mitchell Flat viewing area, like, that camera's not going to work.
It's just super critical of everybody that comes up there.
Bring a tripod.
Good luck, dum-dum.
Just on the side with his arms crossed.
Well, there are no shortage of theories as to what might be responsible for the mysterious lights. Apache Native Americans believed the lights to be falling stars. Local natives refer to the lights as Alsalti, a ghost referring to an Apache chief who was killed by the Mexicans. In 1879, Alsalti and his men were tricked by the Mexican army into coming to Mexico for a feast, having been promised amnesty from the Mexican government.
This is the ultimate fuck around. Like, this is so mean to be like, do you guys want to come to a buffet? And then it's your death?
Yeah.
Come on.
God, that's
First
a roller
of all,
coaster of emotions.
If you want to trick me, tell me there's a buffet.
Yeah, I'll show up anywhere if a buffet is promised. Well, the men were given wine and food and soon fell asleep.
Which is Friday night.
Yeah, that's all the time. When they woke up, they were surrounded by armed Mexican troops. Most men were killed on the spot, but Alsalti and a few of his lieutenants were marched to the bank of the Rio Grande and executed by firing squad. Some believe the lights are the wandering spirits of these fallen men.
They're probably
They're
guiding
looking for that buffet.
Well, I was just say, trying to guide people. There's not a buffet. Go back to your car.
If you were promised a buffet, there is not a buffet. Keep going.
Trap.
Well, the very common and reasonable explanation is that the lights are simply from passing cars. In the 1960s, students at Sul Ross University studied the lights and determined they were nothing more than car lights. A team of scientists from Sul Ross and McDonald Observatory hypothesized yet again in the 1990s that the lights were from a radio tower in the distance or traffic along a mountain road.
Sul Ross University is very near Marfa, and I am just going to assume that the science department does a lot of studies on the Marfa lights.
So it would stand to reason they know what they're talking about.
Or they've all been tricked by the lights.
They've all been brainwashed.
Perpetuating a lie.
Well, to test their theory, they installed marker lights to rule out traffic light. During this investigation, they used special night vision equipment. At first, they saw a pair of headlights driving slowly.
That's what the lights want you to see.
But suddenly, a light appeared that the scientists could not explain. Dr. Edwin Barker of the McDonald Observatory concluded,
there is something in addition to car lights. People are seeing something in the atmosphere. I gotta get my scope.
The scientists officially determined that the lights were a natural phenomenon that they could not yet explain. That's very pretentious. We can't yet explain them, but we're scientists and one day we will figure this out.
Yet.
In May 2004, University of Texas at Dallas Society of Physics students attempted to definitively disprove the lights and using traffic monitoring equipment concluded that all of the lights they saw were in fact simply cars passing along the nearby highway.
Cogs in the machine.
Still others posit the lights are something otherworldly. Some theorize that the Marfa lights are on one corner of a southwest triangle, where alien activity has occurred. Y'all didn't know there were going to be act-outs in this.
Always.
The other two corners are Hooper, Colorado, home of the UFO Watchtower.
Which is a lot of cool pictures of that place, and I want to go there real bad.
Yeah. And Roswell, New Mexico, who we all know.
Also,
Their alien story. The theory is that aliens have set up an underground base in or around the triangle area in order to better study humans. Sightings in and around Roswell, Hooper, and Marfa all point to some concerted alien activity in these areas. I hope this is the case. I hope they're studying us in some underground lab, and I'd like to see what their findings are,
why
quite
people
frankly.
go missing in the forest as they're getting sucked down into the alien observatory.
It's all connected.
But I will say, I know that this is the actual theory. This is the true, real one, because the website I read it on had music playing when you went to it.
So, yeah, this is it. If there's music playing, it's 100% true.
Legitimate. And there was orange text at the top that said, "Turn up sound, music is playing."
You can't read what we've written unless you're listening to the music at the same time.
It's real good.
Well, author James Bonnell believes that
fundamentally, the Marfa lights are plasma.
That is a crazy thing to say.
You
I don't know.
He's spent the better part of 2 decades.
Yeah, that's true.
It,
yeah,
so.
he's also grieving though, so I don't know.
As a man who's probably donated plasma, he may know.
Have you ever donated plasma?
No,
I did in college for money.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
My mom is in the audience, and I'm sure she's proud.
They tried to take my blood when I went to the gun show the other day.
Don't ever let anyone at a gun show take blood from
That's
you.
what I said when I was walking in. They said free blood donations, free admission, and I just sort of quickly walked past the repurposed school bus in which they were taking the donations. And I got up closer to the door, and a guy was like, this was in Mesquite, hometown. It was like, "Hey, I got a deal for you.
I got a deal for you.
You donate a little blood, I'll buy you a ticket in." I don't know if he was with the donation center.
No.
He was standing pretty far away, and I just said, "No, thank you." And he goes, "It ain't that hard." And I
said,
"That's
not the reason I'm not doing this."
Well, I just said I can't for medical reasons, and he didn't press me. But the medical reason is I don't want to have a needle put in me in the gun show parking lot.
I don't want these people to have my blood type and all my information,
or just like be stuck with a needle in a parking lot in Mesquite.
Well, plasma is the fourth state of matter, above solids, liquids, and gases.
Yes.
James Bonnell theorizes that tectonic plates rub together, causing underground lightning. This movement releases a hot ball of plasma.
This is a really hot paragraph.
Yeah. It's about to get better.
Just rubbing together in hot balls.
Yeah. As the plasma cools, it travels erratically through the air, causing the lights. Bonnell says,
"I believe that the underground lightning creates dusty plasma clusters that are the energy source for the mystery lights we see."
Dusty plasma clusters.
Dusty plasma clusters.
Fantastic.
It's the name of my sex tape.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes.
Sometimes things come out of my mouth that I did not expect.
Bonnell thinks the bright bursts themselves might be something called, wait for it, ball lightning.
Hell yeah.
A phenomenon many scientists believe is real, but don't fully understand, and same for both men and women.
Hi.
Nobody understands ball lightning.
Yet.
We'll get there.
Yet.
We'll get there. Paul Devereaux, a geologist from London, so you know he's very smart and legit.
Fancy.
Yes, he's a fancy geologist. He also agrees that the lights are created by the Earth itself. Scientists also believe Fata Morgana, an optical illusion that occurs when a layer of calm, warm air rests above a layer of cooler air, could be the cause of the lights. These are also referred to as superior mirages, and the conditions for this are common in the West Texas desert.
It's just like Texas to be like, we have superior mirages or a little bit better than your normal mirages.
In my research, I learned there are superior mirages and inferior mirages, and I kind of felt a little sad for the inferior mirages.
The difference is that superior mirages are in Texas and inferior mirages
everywhere else.
Yep.
Any other place to see inferior mirage.
But if it's an optical illusion, then is it like the magic eye where you have to cross your eyes or stare real hard at it?
I've never been good at those. I think we've talked about this.
No, you can't do magic
They
eye?
frustrate. It's like that scene in Seinfeld where Lene, that's my sister-in-law. She is not on Seinfeld. Wish she had been. Be living a different life right now. Where Elaine is trying to do the magic eye and gets so mad. Oh no, who's her boss that she's working for?
It's Mr. Pitt.
Mr. Pitt.
He's like, I can see a
So
sailboat.
obsessed. Yeah.
We make a lot of Seinfeld references.
Yeah, we talk about Seinfeld.
But yeah, when I was a kid, I was really obsessed with them, and I thought I was doing them right because you get close and you move away, but I could never do it that way. So if you cross your eyes, you can see it inverted. Now I have astigmatism. So,
Oh, God. But you can see all sorts of fun 3D pictures.
I did not want to be left out. So worth it.
Another optical illusion with a far less fancy name that sounds like a plausible explanation is heat haze. This occurs when extreme heat near the surface of the road refracts the light from the sky. When this occurs, the ground essentially becomes a mirror reflecting the sky. If you've ever driven down the highway on a scorching summer day and up in the distance it looks like the road is suddenly wet, this is heat haze.
Heat haze also happens when I wear shorts in July.
Yeah, we were just talking about wearing dresses during the summer.
Hot, mashed up mess.
It's a heat haze for sure.
You're driving down the road, suddenly.
You're like, it is wet up there. Yep. Yeah.
I thought it was an illusion. Turns out.
It was not an illusion. It's very real.
It's sadly real.
Sadly very real. Well, if there isn't anything on the horizon, heat haze looks like water. But when it's in front of something large like a mountain, the haze can create a mirror image, also known as an inverted mirage.
There's so many mirages.
There's a lot of different types of mirages. Who knew?
So do you think that's it?
I do think this might
Because
be.
I don't know if you guys know, our research style is we both take a lot of notes. I put my notes in a piece of paper, and then it sounds like I write it down in a tab in the internet because we have computers.
In a piece of paper.
I have computers. And then she'll take them and like put them in order and then kind of write. And I love the editorial, when you editorialize a little bit and be like, this is a plausible explanation. I'm like, that's what Christy thinks.
Yes, it's my little Easter egg. It's how I'm trying to brainwash everyone into thinking what I think. Well, an inverted mirage tricks the brain into thinking what you are seeing in the distance is upside down and like it is being reflected in a pool of water. Heat haze could easily make lights from a car or campfire appear as if they were floating in midair.
I don't know. Easily.
Well, quite possibly, the best theory, and my personal favorite, explaining the Marfa lights, is that they are jackrabbits with glowworms attached to their tails, which is just such a fun thing to think about.
A couple of people they interviewed to be like, it's just a damn jackrabbits.
I got glowworms on their tails. But
also-
I imagine the glowworm is the stuffed animal from the 80s.
Where you push it and it sings to you to go to bed? Yeah.
That has a little stocking cap
And it's-
on and its little worm body.
And it's
And it's just wrapped around a jackrabbit's tail.
So my mom's best friend lived like 3 doors down from us as a kid, and her husband was a Teamster, which that's a whole thing that I don't have time to get into, but he gave me a bank. Like, you put coins in, and it was
A piggy bank?
Yeah, except it was a rabbit-shaped bank, and it was felt, and it had realistic eyes, and it had antlers on it, and it was a jackalope bank.
Jackalope.
That, coupled with all the references to jackalopes on America's Funniest Home Videos hosted by Bob Saget, led me to genuinely believe until way too late in my life that jackalopes were an actual animal. Turns out, you guys, much like the megalodon.
I was about to say, this is another megalodon situation.
Hurts so much.
Oh.
But I had that bank, and I just remember holding it up, and I was like, look. And my mom's like, the antlers are glued on. I was just like, but look at it. And she was just like,
Did
no.
you think it was a real one that had been stuffed
Like a
to be
taxidermy-
a taxidermy jackalope?
Nobody asked me how a taxidermied animal could be hollowed out. I didn't ask. But still disappointed, so I like to think it's jackalopes with glowworms.
That's my favorite one. Although, of all the theories, Jack Reed, an old man who lives in Marfa, believes he has it figured out. In an interview, he said quite plainly,
I think they're Satan's people to tell you the God's truth.
I I have a lot of questions for Mr. Reed.
I loved it because it was in.
Are these just Satan's people walking around?
Yeah, that's where they live.
Okay.
The devil worshippers live in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
His interview was in a video that was from the late 1980s, mid 1990s that some Marfa enthusiast has uploaded to YouTube, and it literally just said Jack Reed, and he was an old man, and it didn't say like rancher or mechanic. It was
He's just Jack Reed.
My description was just like an old man who lives in Marfa. And who's to say if he still lives there? I mean, if you guys know
He'll
Jack
always
Reed,
live there. He's one of the lights now. Well, Julia Plumley, daughter of the rancher of Ralph Ellison, one of the earliest witnesses to the lights in 1883, suggests,
let's don't find out what they are. Let's leave them a mystery. That's exactly how she said it in the interview. There's a lot of videos on this research.
Yeah. Well, there's no videos of the lights. There's a lot of people talking about how they've seen the lights.
There are videos of the lights.
However, Hallie Stillwell, who saw the lights as a teenager, emphatically said in an interview,
I am not done trying to solve it. I am going to be content with ghosts and let the ghosts take care of them.
I don't even know what that means,
I don't
honestly.
either. And I had to rewind the video and it was transcribing what she was saying. But she was the one that her family saw the lights and were like, is it headlights? Is it campfires?
They were ghost lights.
It's a goddamn ghost.
Well, what do you think?
Well, the most plausible explanation, I think, with all the research that's out there, James Bunnell, he's written his book. I really think that it's the UFO triangle. It makes the most sense.
Because you're right, that probably makes the most sense. Yeah.
This whole tectonic plates and stuff shooting up out of the ground. Scientists could figure that out. Yet, no, they would know by now. There's nothing stopping any scientist from, and probably James Bunnell would go with you, laying out in Marfa and hanging out on the mountains where you see him. I also wonder why everybody looks at him from so far off. Yeah, they say
they can't get up to him.
Because if you chase him, you get too close.
Yeah.
Unless you're the reverend, you peel the old glove off and get in there.
That's what they need. They need some more reverends to go out there.
Maybe that's why it disappeared, because it's Satan's people.
Oh. Now
reverends.
we're figuring it out. I have a question. If it's an underground lair hosted by aliens, why don't we just dig down there and find it?
You think that the aliens...
How presumptuous of me to think we could dig down into the earth and find the alien underground lair.
First of all, I don't know if you read the article today. There's a wall at the end of this space system or solar system or whatever. I don't understand it, but obviously if we're contained and there's walls around us, the aliens got to go somewhere and they're coming here.
What are you talking about?
There was an article today. I read it from a reputable source. It was a science magazine. I don't remember which one it was. I'll put it in the show notes.
Was it
someday?
National Enquirer? What is your science magazine?
No, it wasn't in the paper.
Heather does refer to the National Enquirer as the paper.
I do have a National Enquirer on my bedside table right now. I do it for the crosswords.
Are they fun, themed crosswords, or are they regular crosswords?
Is
it like Bat Boy and stuff like that? Oh, that's fun.
But I think that the only logical explanation is definitely that there's some sort of alien activity going on there, and it's, it's encouraging the lights. That's what's shooting up out of the ground. It's not tectonic plates, James Bunnell, you douche. It's definitely aliens.
I think it's heat haze.
You think so?
I do. I think it's something that's happening in the atmosphere, an optical illusion that creates something that looks like alien stuff, but it's probably reasonably explained. So that's also how I feel about everything. So
you don't think it was the ghost trying to lure people to or from the buffet?
Oh, I wish it was. I hope it's the jackrabbits with the glowworm. Honestly, what if it's just like a Marvel Universe situation? All of these things are happening. Thank you for applauding to that. Did not think that's what I would get applause about tonight, but
the Tesseract is hidden underneath. That's the SHIELD laboratory.
Yeah, they're all working
together. So technically it's aliens in all your faces.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think.
Yes.
Yeah, aliens. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of aliens. We might just have to go out to Marfa and do some reconnaissance.
I would pay a large sum of money to drive with you to Marfa just to take a picture of you looking firsthand at that Prada building and just the seething hatred in your eyes. Because how mad you are just talking about it, and you're not even near it.
No,
I just want to see it.
I got so mad thinking about last night. It's starting to come up again. Starting to bubble up. I just find it so pretentious. And if it's supposed to represent gentrification, what are you doing taking this beautiful landscape in this desert and then building something there that's trip and trendy? Oh, you're gentrifying it, you dum-dums. You big fat idiots. They're all a bunch of big fat
Hashtag BFI. They're BFI.
Yeah, we are starting that hashtag, by the way. Please start using hashtag BFI, big fat idiots. We want to trademark that.
It is the ultimate insult because you're getting somebody mind, body, and soul. You just hit them at all the levels.
The 1, 2, 3. Just like the Southwest Triangle.
My friend Heather said she started saying "you goofy bitch," which is also very
that's good. I like that's
start
very
using
good.
That. Start using that. You goofy bitch.
That's very good.
Because it's like, oh, goofy. Hey. It's a quick whiplash.
Yeah, you're like, oh, was that kind of a compliment? Wait, what? I hurt now.
Ow. As a person who's frequently called a bitch, it's not that hurtful. Mostly by my mom. It's like a term of endearment.
No.
You bitch.
You bitch. Well, speaking of your mom.
Shout out.
And moms and dads and father-in-laws and everyone that came out tonight, thank you so much to all our friends and family.
Yes.
This has been a blast. We couldn't do this without all of you. If you're coming to the show on Saturday, it will be a brand new topic, and we can't wait to see you there. If you weren't able to get tickets, but you still want to come hang out for the last night of DCF, you can still get tickets to see us perform with the Cult at 9 p.m. It's going to be a very, very fun night.
Yes, and if you want to come after this show, we have another show. We're not in the same troupe, but Christy's actually going to be the guest monologist for my troupe. She's going to come out and tell a short personal story, and then me and my troupe are going to do an improvised show.
Yes, and then one of my troupes will go on right after that and do a totally different show. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be hanging out in the bar area after that, so we can have a drink together and shoot the shit.
The Jello shots.
Yes. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Jello shots. It's one of the best things of DCF is all the Jello shots. So come have a Jello shot with us, please.
And also, we want to personally thank your husband Tommy, who always edits the show and takes care of us. We want to thank DCH and DCF for having us, and Maggie and Amanda.
Not a person we know.
I do have a friend named Mandy. She's
okay,
really
well,
nice.
let's thank her.
Thanks, Mandy. She was Supergirl at Magic Time Machine. Shout out. But Maggie, who's the executive producer, and Amanda, who owns DCH and is super supportive of us and everything we do, and also Deep Elm Art Co. for having us.
Yes,
what a dope
place
space!
Is awesome.
Look at all that art.
This place is sweet.
There's so much art. Thank both of our families,
yes.
everybody who listens. Special shout out to my coworkers who came.
Aww.
I
don't have coworkers.
Ella let you come.
Unless my daughter is here.
She's your
boss.
boss.
I don't think she is. She is my boss. Yeah. My daughter is my boss.
She's at home. But yeah, they let me. I could take a vacation day tomorrow and hang out with you guys tonight because they.
I mean, she's gonna get lit tonight.
They picked up the slack, so thank you very much.
Yes. Well, many of you have asked if we have a Patreon. We do, where you can donate to the show. Our show will always remain free, but if you do wish to donate to help offset the cost of making and hosting the show, you can visit sinisterhood.com/links. You can also get some sweet perks like the Patreon exclusive mini-sode we'll be uploading tomorrow that is all about the Bjork stalker, Ricardo Lopez. Woo! Yeah.
That was a tough one. Also, we'll do monthly videos, so we'll have video Q&As, and we'll post those in the Patreon exclusive Facebook page. And I also did a review about all the true crime documentaries I've been watching and all my hot takes.
Yes, you can also get a sticker sent to you.
Yes, you get a sticker.
And a shout-out.
Yep.
So much stuff can happen.
All the things.
Well, you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SinisterhoodPod and like us on Facebook at Sinisterhood. Heather, where are you at on the internet?
Everywhere at Heather vs. The World, except for Twitter because it's too long. It's MCK versus the World.
Oh.
Christy, where are you at?
I am on Twitter at Christy or GTFO and on Instagram at Christy M. Wallace. As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
Keep it creepy. I was trying to leave. Sorry.
They were trying to leave, but we're going to do a quick Q&A. So the way this will work is I'm going to turn this microphone around, and if you have a question for them, you can come line up right here, and it's going to face this way. And, we'll go from there. And then I'll let you know when we're going to just take a couple more questions so that we can then move to a meet and greet. Is that good for you, ladies?
Hell yeah.
Great. Do you guys need anything to drink or anything?
Got some aguas?
You're good? Good, great. So I'm going to turn this around and open it up to the first person who wants to ask a Q&A.
Also, we know some of our comedy friends are here, so if you have bit questions, always welcome. Yeah, love a good bit.
Legit questions and bit questions?
Legit and bit.
Okay,
legit bit.
We're welcoming all questions.
Either one.
Yeah. There you go.
Whatever.
Let's just sit here in silence.
What if no one asked a
Oh,
question?
yes. Come on, line up. Come on up here.
We got this one right here. Right
What?
here. Just put them all.
First of
No, line
all,
up. You guys line up.
hi.
Hi.
Oh, my God. I've
So
never
good
met
to
you in
see
person.
you.
That's great to see you.
For
those
those
of
seen
you-
you in like a year.
It's been a while. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, this is Clifton. He used to live in Dallas. He's a DCH vet. And I'm like my online friend because I started after you left. So
This
hello.
is the first time I've seen you in person.
It's so good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. How's things?
You're pretty good.
Cool.
It's pretty
Great.
good. Good.
I had a question, Christy. If it weren't a Prada store, say it was like an Old Navy, would it be less infuriating or more infuriating?
It's a really good question. I think because I could relate to it more, a bit less infuriating, but I'm just irritated by the concept of someone building this. It would be less. I just worked through it in my brain. Absolutely, it would be less. Yeah.
Think about all the Old Navy coupons those workers could have to go get new jean pants to wear when
But
they're
it's
out
not
border
a real
patrolling.
store.
Oh.
If it was, that's what's so stupid. It's
Burn
also
it
just
down.
like, it's just by itself. They almost had to get rid of it because it violated some billboard code.
Oh.
You know what they did have to get rid of?
What?
The 40-foot pink neon bunny that Playboy had installed down the street. They got rid of that. That's art. That's real art. We got rid of it.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
question, Clifton.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
I love that you have them on your phone.
Did you prepare?
Oh, I did.
Oh, I love you so much.
I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. First of all, you said, Heather, you said, sometimes things come out of my mouth that I don't expect. That's the name of your sex tape. I actually have a quick question for each of you. Heather, I know that you said Nancy doesn't really listen, right? But is she...
No, she
Oh,
listens.
she does?
Oh,
Is she...
if the episode is not uploaded at midnight so that she can get it at 5 a.m. when she's making her coffee, her Folgers, I get a text message. But go on.
Is she cool? I'm guessing she's cool with your impression of her?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so accurate.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering. Is she never like, I didn't
She
fucking
just
say
goes,
that.
she's here.
She's
She's
here.
That was one of the most special moments I've ever seen in my life. And my second question is for Christy. I guess it's more of a challenge, really.
Oh, I love it already.
Oh, so you're up for it? Mm-hmm. So could you spend the next 30 seconds describing the last act of E.T. for me without crying?
What happens in
No,
that
I
movie?
can't. I'm already about to cry. Just thinking about- Well, in the last part, doesn't he get to go home finally?
Yeah, finally. So hard.
It's the saddest movie that's ever been made.
I'm so sorry I did that to you. I love you. Thank you.
I love you, Brian.
She's legitimately tearing
I'm a
up.
little upset right now.
It's so good. Hello.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm JP.
What's up, JP? We
Hey.
know you. We met.
Yeah, well, we've met.
Yeah,
I don't think
all right.
we've met before.
I think
but
I've seen
Brian's
photos.
It's nice to meet you.
Hello.
So my question is not a bit question. It's more of like a process question. Sure. So both of you are improvisers, but this isn't really an improv stage, it's a podcast. So I'm curious as to how you guys prepare for the show. Do you have a rehearsal? I mean, clearly you have notes, but clearly you also have improvised bits of it. So I'm just curious as what goes into making the show for you guys.
That's a great question.
Yeah, great question.
Do you want to
Well,
start?
like I said, we use Microsoft OneNote if you want to get nitty gritty, and we have tabs. We have the podcast outline tab, the sources tab, because Christy will not put anything in the outline that has not been source checked. She'll be like, "You said an ice, but this person was frozen in a block of ice. What newspaper was it from? Was it legitimate?" To be fair, I call the National Enquirer the paper, so it's a fair question. And then we have the notes tab where, like, I'll write some of my notes, she'll write her notes, and then she takes them and combines them into the outline, and then we'll both read over the outline just so we're familiar with it. And then she shows up to the recording studio, my guest bedroom, And then we sit down and mash record and we go. And
We do not rehearse it, though.
We don't rehearse
We don't
anything.
do like a first take or anything like that.
And we don't write bits or anything. It's literally like I didn't know I was going to talk about James Dean yanking a scope out of his pants. Like it just comes out.
Yeah.
Like my sex tape.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
That's the
so
sequel.
congratulations.
Thanks. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Mickey.
What's up?
I'm obsessed with true crime, so your podcast speaks to me on a spiritual level.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Which means my question is hella basic.
Let's do it.
What started your obsession with true crime?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, started the obsession with true crime. That's a great I've always kind of been into true crime or weird stuff since I was little.
I can tell you, as a child, so my sister's 5 years older than me, and so she would have been about 12, so I would have been about 7. She loved Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
The old one with Robert Stack, right, was the guy that hosted it. And just, I would watch it with her, but I was so scared. I was so scared.
But it was
and she would be like, you're being a
scare.
baby.
Yeah.
And I think I watched it to kind of demystify it and be less scared. And I think the same thing happens with anything we research, especially any sort of a serial killer or something that's like really violent or scary or devastating, or especially ghosts, because they're real, you guys. Watch out. I like to learn as much as I can about it, just so I feel like it demystifies it and makes it less scary. So, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, I was a big Unsolved Mysteries fan. Also, Rescue 911. They were in the same time block back in the day. And I kind of like being scared. I like going to haunted houses. I like being scared about stuff. I think demystifying it too.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just kind of an interesting human infatuation, I think, with struggles that other people have gone through. So yeah, it's been something I've always been interested in. And then when we decided to start the podcast, we actually started it because I was convinced we could solve a cold case.
I'm still convinced.
Which we have not yet. But one day we will. We had both just watched The Keepers on Netflix, and I was like, if these two women can do it, so can we.
We just haven't solved a cold case
Yet. Yeah.
but we will.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Nice
much.
meeting you. Thank you for coming.
My
Frankie.
If you would like to see this man in a troupe with me tomorrow at Dallas Comedy House, 9:30. Shout out.
I don't know why I'm taking this out of the stand.
Fine.
You look very casual and come. You got a drink in your hand. You're
You look
taking
your-
the mic out. Are you about to do a type 5 for us? Nice.
Hi, that's the trick.
I love it.
So earlier in the episode, you guys talked about courting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could go any place to court, where would you go?
Oh my gosh.
By courting, are you talking about?
The way you explained it before.
Okay.
Courting or finger banging. If you
Okay.
wanna- if you want to get
I love that our moms are here.
Yeah. For any single guys listening, okay. I'll tell you exactly
If I
what
could
I
go
like.
anywhere, I mean, probably like, I don't know, outer space, just so I could go.
I'll tell you exactly where.
And that way, and the rest would kind of just be like, whatever, but I'm going somewhere that I like would be badass to go.
While Chrissy's getting fingered in a spacesuit, I'll tell you where I'd be. One of those cabanas in like Fiji
Oh, yeah,
over
that'd
the
be
water.
sweet.
Hell yeah.
That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. I don't know, space though.
Fiji!
Yeah.
You know what's in Fiji that's not in space? Buffet.
You don't know what they got up there in the space center. Actually, probably not much because their funding's been drastically cut.
You know what? They do have the wall at the end of space.
They got a lot of planets.
Look it up. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Sorry, my name's Lara. I met you a couple
Yes.
weeks ago at the psychic fair.
Hello.
I was the girl that
nice.
told her about the pig that I met in Denton.
Yes, I told you that.
Oh,
She saw somebody
yeah.
walking a pig.
Speaking of pigs, I have a question about a pig. Super random. Doesn't have to do with your podcast.
Go for it.
I apologize.
Ask whatever.
How'd you get your pig? What's it like owning a pig? I just want to
It's a
know.
great
I really
question.
love pigs. They're my favorite animal.
Petal's amazing.
It's your
first of all.
It's your favorite animal.
I commented on your Instagram a couple weeks ago. You posted a picture of her. I was like, God, I love her. I
Perfect.
want one so bad. Please tell
Well,
me.
I love pigs. Don't get one. That's the first
You're
advice I
right
give
in
you.
my heart.
Okay. The girl we got her from said, and I think this sums it up nicely, is pigs are assholes that can sometimes be sweet. Which is also how I'm describing people. She's great. She's a lot. They're a lot to take care of. They're very needy. They're very smart. So she can be very sweet, but she can also be a real goofy bitch when she wants to be.
She's a goofy bitch. What's the thing you have to do where you have to, like, sand
they
her?
have to, like, cut their hooves once every 6 months. They have to get their teeth filed. It's the whole thing. She can't travel because we can't get her fat ass in the car. So people have to come to the house and do it. Also, when she gets in the car, she immediately shits.
Hey,
Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, listen to episode 13 if you want to know why Heather's saying
Mother
that.
like daughter. Interesting.
Yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with Cuddle. If you really do want to get a pig, though, I can message you more information about it. I will message you more information, and I'll talk you out of it. Okay.
Thank you so much. That top.
Yeah, that top's super cute. Hello.
Julia
Double
Sakura.
question, it seems.
Hello, yes.
For those of you who don't know, this is Julia Sakura. She's a phenomenal Dallas area stand-up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
And her roommate.
What's up? And her roommate. What's up?
my dear friend. Meg has discovered a cult in Richardson.
What?
Off Campbell Road.
What?
Whoa.
There's a real...
By discovered, are you a member in this? You're
She's
about
like, I
to
brought
try and get
pamphlets.
everybody in here to
I'm
join?
practicing.
See a little bit closer.
I go to UTD,
Okay.
so I pass by this suspicious-looking building every day, and I was like, I gotta look this building up. So I called Julia and was like, I looked this building up. It's a for sure cold, and like,
When you looked it up, how did you know that?
it's called a Cankar.
At Cankar?
At Cankar.
At Cankar?
I don't know what word that is.
We're just
Me
saying,
either.
this is just
It's not
vowels.
a real one.
That sounds like letters are missing.
No,
Yeah.
it's a lot of consonants, and Harold Klemp is their leader.
That is a
That's
cult
a cult leader name.
Right? And all of like the scriptures on their website, they look like scriptures, but they're quotes from Harold Klemp, who is a messenger of God.
Yeah,
Oh, this is a cult.
Yeah. And
When God is flipping through the white pages of humanity, he stopped on Clint.
Yeah.
Harold Klemp is our guy.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, their services are open to the public at 11 a.m. on Sundays, like any normal church. So.
Wow. Are you going to go?
Well, so
Oh, that's where you're. Are you trying to get us to go?
Meg and I are very cult susceptible.
Oh no, God! Then don't go.
No. So I'm curious to see if you're interested. Would be willing to go to this cult with us.
That's my mother screaming
just
no.
Check it out.
That's the same. My mom screaming no is the same thing when I told her I was going to go for school project to the Scientology Center. She was like, "Oh hell no! You call me, you tell me you're not going to go," and I did. The only thing stronger than Scientology is my mom, so she'll go with you. Wait, do they have a buffet?
That cult will have no more followers once Nancy
Message
gets
us the
a hold
name
of
though.
it.
I do want to look that up.
All right.
Yeah, we'll message it up.
I'm
We'll
gonna,
get brunch.
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll have to do more research. But well, yeah.
I have a fear. I don't think I'll get sucked in, but those things I'm so like freaked out by things.
That's the
like
name of
that.
your sex tape. There you go. I don't know if I'll get sucked in, but I'm freaked out by things like that. There it is.
I'm glad that we have some projects in the works after this. I might go. I'll let you know. But y'all don't go by yourselves. 'Cause I don't feel like we're going to see you again if you do.
Yeah.
We've been
Take
told
Garlish
many
with you.
times we should not go.
Take Jeff with you.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Also an amazing stand-up and improviser, Jeff
Yes.
Garlish.
Mr. Jeff Garlish.
So, sorry, this is a little short for me. They inspired me.
That's the name
for
of
a
your
question.
sex tape. Hello.
Their question inspired me. If y'all were going to start a cult, what would it be called, and what would like the requirements or tenets be to be in your cult?
Wow.
First of all, no pants that are not stretchy pants.
Yeah.
No pants.
Yeah. Only carbs.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of food and just generally being comfortable stuff.
Yes.
I think is what it's going to be.
No one is allowed to talk during movies. That's
No.
like my number one. It's like an executable
or
offense.
within the first hour of you waking up,
Yes.
you can't be asked a question.
It's completely silent.
Also, you get to sleep as long as you want in the morning.
Yes. The only movies you can talk during are The Purge after you drink a daiquiri from the drive-through daiquiri stand in downtown Dallas.
Okay,
That's the thing I do. It's a ritual I have. I'm just saying. We all have our rituals, you guys.
What would the name be?
Oh my gosh.
What's a
Oh, it needs to be
mashup of our
long.
names.
Well, it needs to be like a long name. Like, what was the one in Garland? Was like this God spaceship coming to Earth Society of America. It needs to be something really long, like the worship of 2 women goddesses who were given to the earth to eat carbs and wear pants.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We require a 10% tithe. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Last call. We had such good questions. I mean,
Yeah, these are great.
Oh wait, go. It's your mom.
Oh, that's my mom.
How much did you get paid for the plasma
All
donation?
she's been thinking about is that. Since that was said like an hour ago. I think $30 or something
God,
like
not
that.
worth it.
She's shaking her head in shame. I needed beer money. I had to buy Keystone.
Oh God.
Oh, thanks,
Sorry,
Mom.
Mom.
I love you.
I think we're good.
Thank you so much for coming, guys. Thank you so much.
They're just going to run backstage for one hot second. If you would love to meet Christy and Heather, they would love to meet you.
Sinisterhood.